At 45, after 26 years with the same person, I found myself newly separated and alone for the first time since I was 19. I'd never really been single or on my own, and although I'm a very independent person, this was really, really lonely and strange for me. We had to sell the home that we'd built together, that we'd built in our new life in Spain as we'd moved countries. I had to move into a rented apartment, which I'd never rented before. I'd always bought. And I had to figure out who I was without the identity that I'd carried for decades. I didn't just lose a relationship, I had to rediscover who I even was. And now at 49, I want to tell you what helped me rebuild not just my life, but myself. When you've been with someone since your teens, your entire adult life is woven together. We built a life together across decades. Our villa in Spain was meant to be part of that forever. And when it all ended, I had to let it all go. The home, the routines, the shared dreams. I moved into a small apartment that felt unfamiliar and lonely. Here's what helped in those early months. You need to grieve the shared identity so you can then start exploring your own. You need to rebuild slowly without the pressure to bounce back. And it was terrifying, but also the beginning of something deeply real. Now, obviously, when I split up, we was in COVID as well. And I mean, it was a really difficult time and, but you just need to take your time. And you need to remember that it's a big shift. Cut yourself some slack. And also just start exploring what you want. Other things that I learned was home is where you reclaim your peace. It's not where your memories live. It's okay if the next place is smaller, simpler. It's your fresh start. And don't rush to recreate what you lost. Let yourself live differently. Now, this was really difficult. I'd spent years with my own companies. We'd built up. We'd done very well for ourselves. And we'd built all this stuff together. We had all our possessions. We had, and in a moment that was all gone. But that's okay. You've got new things, and we are not from our possessions. We don't need them to live, and it's actually quite humbling. And I think I learned, not straight away, but a lot about myself and what I need and what actually does make me happy. I think especially, in England, you do come from where you're always trying to not compete, but you do have that possessions, the next big thing, working to gain more things. And I think, I really come to terms with the fact that all them things don't make me happy. The apartment I moved into was unfamiliar and empty at first. No history, no comfort, no sense of home. But I tried to just make the best of it and fill it with my routines and peace. And I think no matter where you live, if you're moving into a different place on your own, it's going to feel strange at first. But I would say just try and personalise your space and photos, even if it's temporary, just make it feel like you. And put what you want in there. You're the only one you're trying to please. Keep a few comforting rituals like your coffee, your music, your morning walk. For me, I stuck to my gym, going CrossFit, and tried to keep that so it didn't change. I think as well, let yourself grieve and grow at the same time, because yes, you can do both. And don't try to replace the life you lost and focus on creating something new. This won't happen straight away, and don't feel that pressure, but just start to think what you want now that you don't have to consider a partner. Because sometimes becoming someone new often begins with just surviving the day. And that's okay. What actually helped me heal? Everyone says give it time, but time alone doesn't heal you. Now, one thing I will say 4 years on is it does also help because you've had time to process and get everything together and get used to being alone. But time itself just doesn't heal you. Some things that actually helped was structure. You need a routine, even on hard days. Like I say, I went CrossFit like before. That was my routine. That was my thing that I kept together. And that was so important for my mental health. space. You need to let the silence teach you what you need. Just don't try and fill it for the sake of it. Now, support. Now, this one's a bit one I didn't realise. I didn't need a crowd, I just needed one safe person. Now, this was strange for me, as when I was with my partner, I had so many friends. Well, I say friends, but friends. And this really did change when we separated. And if I'm honest, although it happened at the worst time, I really did find out who's a true friend in my life. And in my case, I had one true friend that I had from school. She doesn't live in the same country because obviously I've moved to Spain and she still lives in England. So, but her support and daily phone conversations were invaluable. I did grieve partly for the people that I had in my life for when I was with my partner because, you know, they were such a big part and literally they dropped off, which I just would not have expected. But find that one safe person and be honest with them. Now, I'm a confident person and I don't like asking for help, and I think I can do everything myself, and usually can. But you need to be honest with the person that you have got in your life that you are speaking to. There was days at the beginning where I didn't even want to go and see people in the supermarket, which now to me sounds crazy. But, you know, it was like that, and that's how I felt. And just being honest really helped the fact when I was going through it. I think if you've got that one person who you're completely honest with, just let you know, no pride, no pretending everything's okay. That really does help. Now, this isn't a race and it just won't feel like it at first, but you've also got the chance to redesign your life however you want. You can spend as much of your free time now doing whatever you want. So any free time, you've got no one else to think about but yourself. And that's something that I've really come to love and I never had before. Not that I didn't have that. I still had a lot of freedom and could do what I want, but obviously you don't have anyone else to consider. You know, if I wanted to have dinner at 11, I could do it. If I wanted to, you can just do what you want. So starting again isn't about pretending you're fine. It's about slowly becoming someone you recognise again. Now here's what I would tell any woman starting again over 40. Losing your relationship and your home isn't the end. It's a shift. The things that made you feel secure weren't the only sources of your strength. You are. And let it be different and let it be yours. And I wish someone would have told me how much other people, friends and people I knew would have an opinion, not necessarily always shared with me, but for all intents and purposes, they would have a side. And it's nothing to do with anyone else, and do not let this bother you. No one knows what, why, how, or maybe they do, but no one needs to know. You don't need to justify anything. Just let that be. That's the same with whatever. What they think of you is none of your business, and do not focus on what other people and what they think of your split, your life, how you're dealing with it, what you're doing. If you want to go and jump straight back in and go dating, then do it. If you don't want to, don't do it. If you just do you. People have an opinion, will judge you no matter what. So literally just do what you want to do and don't consider these people. I'm not saying don't consider them as in, do mean things, but live your life. Don't consider their opinion. Don't let people hold you back. This is your chance to reinvent yourself. And, I didn't focus too much on what people, but it does affect you. And really, just don't. It will blow over. People will stop having an opinion on it. Well, for the most part, but it's really not important. Just do you. You are not broken. You are rebuilding. And that version of you is going to be even stronger. If you're starting over 40, after separation, after selling the home, after losing what felt like your foundation, just know this. You're not too late. You're right on time for something new, and you're exactly where you're meant to be. So if you want honest conversations about over 40 reinvention and becoming the woman you're meant to be, as well as fitness and anything health related, then subscribe. And if you can, hit the like button. Thank you. Bye.